Me in studio, the team is already in here, but go on our social media platforms, follow up the conversation there. On Facebook, we are 91.2 Cruise FM. On X, that we are 912 Cruise FM. And on TikTok and YouTube, that's where Cruise TV is. With me in studio is, for the very first time, I've struggled to have this man here for years, but eventually I've caught a grip of him. Mr. Agaba Anthony is a member of the Forum for Democratic Change. Mr. Peter Mpaka, member of the National Unity Platform. And Musa Kwatanise, a member of the National Resistance Movement with an affiliation to MK Movement. Please keep the conversation on our social media platforms. Later on the show, I'll give you an opportunity to join the conversation on 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. On his way is Councillor Honorato Muhanguzi, who will be joining up later on in the show. Let me give you a rewind of the week before we get into our topic of discussion. Now, you know, something that is connected to our topic of discussion this morning. The FDC Electoral Commission duly nominated the embattled party leaders for re-elections ahead of a controversial high-level poll there. Then government sent a pyro teams to the UN General Assembly, with one headed by the Vice President and the other by the Prime Minister. The delegates totaling up to about 71 of them. All of them got to get per diem, and I don't know, some are handlers, some are pro protocol, some are spouses of the delegates. So it was like that. We had a lot of that was happening about that. Parliament and especially members of the opposition castigating government for sending such a big number of Ugandans to the delegation in the United Nations General Assembly. Now, 4 new envoys present their credentials to the Prime President, including William Pope of the US, Hamsun Ann of Norway, and Pekka Papilon of Finland, and Hezen Shabet of Palestine. We wish them a good tour of duty. The judiciary holds the 6th annual Benedictus Chwanaka Memorial Lecture with the theme Enhancing Judicial Accountability, Transparency, and the Rule of Law. That was by His Excellency the President, who was the guest of honor there. High Court judge issued an interim injunction blocking an extraordinary National Delegates Conference that a section of FDC party members scheduled, and it eventually happened, against the court directive on the September 19th at Katonga. Anthony Agawa will be able to help us here, but let me welcome all of you that are listening to the show, especially those that are listening by way of internet. We want to thank you so much in the diaspora, the people of Mbarara, Ushenyi, Ntungamo. But in a very, very sad news, one of the panelists of the big seat, the Honorable Jorem Mugisha, lost the mother, who she had told me was around 103 years. So I think she has rested. We send our condolences to the family of Honorable Jorem Mugisha, the NUP fraternity, and the friends and, comrades of Honorable Jorem Mugisha there. Now, we'll kick up the show. I want to welcome Anthony Agaba for the very first time. Let me allow Musa Kwatanse to say hello before we get into it.
Good morning, my brother Banyaji. Good morning to my fellow comrades in the studio, and good morning to our dear listeners. As usual, the name is Musa Kwatanse, the political antidote, a member of the MK movement and a supporter of Mzee Museveni and our generational president, General Muhoozi. I'm happy to be hosted here again, and I must note that in the week, actually yesterday, Amuria Secretary General for UPC crossed to NRM and was welcomed by the Right Honorable Secretary General of the NRM.
The Secretary General of the UPC is called Fred Ebil.
Of Amuria District.
Oh, of Amuria District.
So
I hear you
as we continue, opposition continue to join NRM, and I think it is the right approach because they are realizing like self-realization is always important.
Thank you so much.
Thank you and wish you nice deliberations.
Thank you so much. Musa Kwatanse, thank you. Peter Mpaka, good morning and welcome to the big set.
Yes, good morning our dear listeners, and good morning West J, and good morning to the colleagues that we have today. My name is Peter Mpaka from the National Unity Platform, and I also wish you a great week, and I wish you a great weekend, and I wish you a nice show this morning. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, Peter Mpaka. Let me welcome Anthony Agawa for the very first time. Good morning and welcome to the Big Set.
Good morning to you all our listeners and viewers out there. We thank them actually for the time they normally spend and be there for us so they can listen to us and hear what we have to say sometimes. So we thank them very much. So much. I'm Agaba Anthony, the chairperson of LC1 for Chianja Cell and the chairman for Fdc on our division, Kamukuzi division. Then later on, I was actually given to chair Mbarasti North. So I'm the chairman Mbarasti North as we speak. So I'm one of the delegates actually.
All right. We know chairpersons also want to be very old men. Where do you get the audacity to be a LC1 chairperson?
Thank you very much.
Age?
People voted me not because of the age, but because of what I can do and how I can help them actually in their communities. So that's why I'm in that chair.
All right. Welcome, Councillor Honorato Muhanguzi, to the Big Set.
I'm very grateful to be here. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, dear listeners. As you've already introduced, my name is Muhanguzi Honorato. I come from Isinjiro. And I'm also a lawyer in town, working with Rukabura Home Advocates. And it has been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And I'm very grateful for your invite, and I wish you a good day.
All right.
Listen to us.
All right. Thank you so much. We hope you will join really the conversation on our social media platforms. Keep it going. And later I'll give you an opportunity to, call in and let us hear your voice and put your opinion on record. Let me start with Agawa, who is a member of the Forum for Democratic Change. We've seen you all over the place at Katonga and with your counterparts, the Elias Lukwago and Semujunganda, those that are against the position of the constitution of the party. One, the court had moved.
Are they against
the
constitution of the party or the other group or Tanajanankumba? They are the ones that are against the constitution
at
of
least
the
we
party.
know that the court moved to give an interim injunction.
Okay. Thank you very much, our moderator. But this is what I want to tell you. As opposition, because we are not in the government, we are opposition. So I don't think whatever that we can do or whatever we can say, actually the government can be happy about that. You know very well when His Excellency Kaguta Museveni say that by 2026 he wouldn't actually want to hear any opposition party in Uganda. But he is actually the one who brought all this because he accepted. What we have a multi-party system in Uganda. Wait. He's the one who accepted that we have a multi-party system. Then later on, he doesn't want to accept in his heart and mind that we should have these political parties. This is what I want to say for sure. Because let's go back, because for you hear what is on the news. Sometimes you don't get people who are inside. Maybe it would even actually be better if you got a person who is at Najana Nkumbi and maybe he sits here, then I also sit here. Because since you've said it is a fraction, meaning we are two different people that are not agreeing on something.
Yes, tell us.
But though we are not agreeing on something, I think we should first respect the constitution of FDC. That is number one. The same way how Ugandan government wants maybe to respect the constitution of Uganda. Because if they want us to respect the constitution of Uganda, why don't they allow us to also respect this constitution? That is now one way. But for them, because they want to divide actually these political parties and bring them on board, like how you see DP is. So actually they are doing it by force. It is a handshake, but by force. But they have forgotten one thing, that FDC, it can't be NUP. It can't be DP. When you go to all the districts in Uganda, can you get delegates for DP? No, you will find here in Western Uganda there is only Makumbi. You see, but FDC, they have all the delegates. They have all the 90 people on the ground or in every district. So it is not so easy for a person to just sell out that political party. So this is what happened actually. When we got misunderstandings, we went into a national council, which was not successful, of whereby you saw goons at Najana Nkumbi. It has never happened. Goons, police, for us as FDC, we've never been protected by anyone. That maybe we need security. Because of course we are an opposition party. What do you expect from the government? So this is what happened. After the failure of that National Council, delegates petitioned the chairman. Why did they petition the chairman? To bring harmony, to reconcile members. So the chairman calls, not a delegates conference, because you call the delegates conference actually to meet and talk some other things on the agenda, but this special delegates conference, or it is called an extraordinary delegates conference, it is called when actually the chairman so wishes that he should call this special delegates conference, or if he gets petition from actually, let me say 60% of the delegates.
Mr. Anthony Agaba, I should make you know, perhaps remind you that there was a court directive to that.
No, wait, I will come. I will come to that because I'm trying to explain.
The convening of that extraordinary conference.
I'm explaining to you how all this went. So the only person to call that special delegates meeting is one person, the chairperson. I will read you in our constitution something very small. Chapter 5 of our constitution, Article 5. Let us listen to it. An extraordinary meeting shall be convened by the chairperson in any of the following circumstances. When the chairperson so decides. This is our constitution. I didn't write this when I was coming here. Everyone has this. Even Nanda Ramafabi, person I know that he's so intelligent, has this same constitution. Nothing else. Part B of that. On receipt of a petition from one half of the district executive committees.
Was that followed?
Yes! Everything was followed. Even the petitions are there. Everything is documented as we speak. C. On receipt of petition from 30% of the delegates from at least 50% of all districts in the country. Something that was done. Then, where the National Executive Committee requests. These are the things the chairperson is supposed to do with the delegates conference or extraordinary delegates conference. And you all know that we had a problem. We had misunderstandings already in the party. So the work of the chairperson was to convene an extraordinary meeting for all this, so that we can reconcile as members, so that we can bring harmony to some of the members of FDC. But when this was done, are we together?
Yes.
Invitations went to all the delegates. Actually, who all became happy because they saw there was going to be reconciliation between members, between these leaders. But they say when you have your own plan and when you have state power, actually you don't see any other person as a person who is actually thinking well. You see them as demos, dolls, and many things. This is what Nanda Ramafa Band Power did. After receiving invitations, they now went and wrote to police that this extraordinary meeting is not supposed to be there. Remember, he's writing this to police when actually these are the same delegates that voted him into power, him and power. Are you getting what I mean?
Yes.
And their term of office, these delegates, is still on. It is ending on 7th October. So meaning these are the delegates that we have as FDC. We wanted to first tackle on the issues. Why there are misunderstandings. One, elections were held by Bamwenda Teterebuka, who organized an election, a shabby election. As FDC, we've never had an election, a selective election. This is what happened. They selected.
But we followed through, and we know there are places where indeed an election was conducted.
Where?
Mr.
Me, I said I'm Agaba Anthony, chairperson LC1 for Chianja Sale. Where elections were not conducted.
Let's stop for a break. When we come back, you continue giving us that background.
Okay,
Good morning.
It's tough. It's bold. It's real politics. The Big Seat on 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music.
Great music.
Great friends.
Great friends.
Big Seat on 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music,
Great music.
great friends.
Great friends.
22 minutes past 9 o'clock on Western Uganda's biggest radio station, 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music, great friends. The Big City Zone. My name is Fdc At. If you want to follow online and you're out of our frequency, listen online on www.cruisefm.com/stream. And on Cruise TV, that's where we are. You'll be able to see whatever is transpiring here in studio. Follow through on our social media platforms, 912 Cruise FM on X, that's Twitter, and 91.2 Cruise FM on Instagram and Facebook. Go like, follow, comment, give us feedback. We shall be able to give you the best as usual. My name is Fdc At. With me in studio is Peter Mpaka, member of the National Interplatform, Mr. Gaba Anthony here, who is a member of the Forum for Democratic Change. By what he has just said, we now know he pledges his allegiance to Katonga. And we have Councillor Honorato Muhanguzi, who is a lawyer. He still belongs to the National Resistance Movement. And Mr. Musa Twata, MK Movement and National Resistance Movement there. Honorato Muhanguzi, you heard what Gava just said, gave us preamble of what is happening in the party. I know you for being an open-minded person. You look at things for what they are. Where isn't FDC destined for a split now?
To be sincere, first of all, in addition to what he has said, His Excellency General Yoweri Museveni, at one of his rallies in Fort Portal, he stated it clearly. He said, Njakuba Marao. That was the word he used. He said, I will finish them. What does it mean? The word from the boss does not require you to find him holding a stick to beat you. But he may use your own systems to finish you. And actually, we are seeing
But Councillor Honorato, I find that ridiculous for you to blame General Museveni for eating up the opposition when they are willing to be eaten up. If the FDC had members that were solid as the party requires, they would not be taken away by the wind of General Museveni. That means they are as weak as it can get.
Wesije, you are a lawyer.
Yes.
You are about to finish and you are about to come into all these things to analyze. I took time and read this case about FDC, those young boys versus Nandara Mafabi, the Secretary General. I saw the reason in obitadicta of the case. I can critique that judge that she was not in her mind. She was directed. We have seen this quite often. I will give you an example of the case of Amama Mbabazi. I will give you the case of Chaguranyi. There is another case of Besije. We have seen these things. It's not that they have just fallen in, they have just come in, or it's first of its kind. But we have seen a sequence of events that culminates into what FDC is experiencing. The man stated that I'm going to finish you. How do you think he's going to finish them? He's using their own members to finish them. I want to...
And who is to blame for that, Councillor Honorato?
My dear, we have a supreme law, which is the Constitution. One of the political parties should not take part in other political organizations in its activities. Secondly, we have police, which should work with civilian authority. You saw the bruises of blood. You saw how those Kanyamas were seriously clenching the fist, trying to brutally attack the chairman of the FDC. He was actually barricaded from entering. He maneuvered to enter, but he was not allowed to come out. And all these unfolded when police was seriously watching, and nothing was done. Secondly, Waswabirgwa is not a young man like you and me. He's a diplomat. He holds a diplomatic passport. He's an ex-ambassador. He's a first-class citizen. How would you subject such a man with his dignity subject to such treatment? and at hands of police. And the government has never come out to either condemn or condone. It kept silent. And we have somebody who is a lawyer, is an IGP, and he has never done anything. Now, when these people are telling you that actually what is unfolding in Katonga and what is in Najana Nkumbi is actually a plot to finish FDC, I concur with them. Because even in our NRM, you can see the MHOS project is working parallel with the mainstream NRM. Once they meet, they crash. You have seen them quite often at this radio station. Others are saying, we shall teach you the lesson. You teach me as who? You are still a serving soldier, but campaigning for the president. Others are saying, this one is the son of our what? Of our NRM. So what is in FDC is what is in NRM. Actually, I will give you one of the Akatevia. You know, most of our listeners are Banyankore. Do you still remember the person called Isheka Tabazi?
No.
Isheka Tabazi no money?
No.
Now, Isheka Tabazi was a son of an old chief. So one evening he used, you know, these old people in the villages, they have special food. They prepare special dishes for Muzei. So these others, they eat whatever they get. So Isheka Tabazi one day, akarebe bukuru. Ebukuru no money. They get this cow G mixed with good meat and so what happened? Isheka Tabazi calculated his move. Said Mzee, let's go and graze cows. Upon reaching in the bush, he told Mzee, I have not come with Rugabire. Can I go back and pick? Said yes. You go. Rush! Then Isheka Tabazi went back and told his mom, Mama, hey, tata yanjangu mpebu kurinjirechi mbirye. Oriati yomwana ono bryano bakwita. You know, eating your father's dish. You would be speared there and then and die. So what Isheka Tabazi said, Mama, I'm under instructions to give me that bukuru and I eat it. Mukade said, without instructions from Mzee. He stood on the veranda and asked, where is he? He's up in the mountain. Now Isheka Tabazi called Mzee. Tata, babi inyuma. Now the Mzee said, Iwe bumuhereze. He was given that dish. He ate it and went and got ready to marshal it out with Mzee. So when Mzee returned home, my food. Now the Mukade said, you instructed Isheka Tabazi to come and eat it. Where will I get them? You wait, I first prepare another meal in alternative. So Mzee was angry. He waited for Isheka Tabazi to spear him. Now Isheka Tabazi realizing that this night he's actually going to face death. He got one of the best bulls and carried a band of firewood and put it in the horns of that bull. So when Mzee was seriously waiting Isheka Tabazi to come home and get his spear, he threw a spear and all of a sudden killed the bull. Now Isheka Tabazi was somewhere cheering, yes Mzee. Said, now you are wise like me, you come home and we eat together. It's what is going to happen in NRM. Isheka Tabazi has already seen the way how the Beshaju is glittering and seriously marshalling to eat that bukuru. You will see what will happen. It's actually what is happening at Katonga and Najana Nkumbi. Because one, engineer power and Nandara Mafabi are being used. You can see their constitution is very clear. Chairperson, from his own volition, can summon a delegates conference. What don't you see?
Actually, the chairperson of our party is the only person who can convene a delegates conference or an extraordinary
So on
meeting.
which basis was the judgment rendered, in fact the interim injunction, to stop the occurrence of that extraordinary conference? Was the judge in oblivion
Now,
of these facts?
Let me defend it, don't worry. Ask, okay?
Yes, was the judge, not aware of the constitution of the party that gave power to the chairperson to convene this extraordinary conference?
I know you are good at reading.
Yes.
There is Machiavelli principles, which he said, if you want to stay much in power, you laugh with them during the day. Kill them at night, you mourn with them tomorrow. These judges are human beings like me and you. They are subjected to appraisals. They are employed. Their contracts can be terminated. You have seen a number of them being terminated, like Kanyihamba.
Some have even resigned.
Others have resigned, like such of recent, she resigned. So what don't you know?
Okay.
So she was under instructions to decide so. You saw what happened in the case of Segirinya and Honorable Sewanyana. Court granting bail, and somebody upon exiting the prison,
They are rearrested.
they are rearrested. No more charges, no what, but on the same charges whose bail was granted. So these judges, they also want salary. You know, poverty levels of African states, they are also poor. No bareba kuba kushirinkinga babihamirmo. Of recent they promulgated a law permitting them to get 80% of their salary and other emoluments after
Retiring.
retirement. You think it is that simple?
All right. Thank you,
That should
Counsel.
tell you the
Th-
reason.
th-
Small before you go to
yes.
him. On that case and about that case, this is what happened. Nandala Mafabi and Poa got two people, actually who are their secretaries. This is what I will say. They are the same people who took that application to court. But this is what they did. They were asked by that judge. That judge also is not a fool. They were asked, you're reporting this. What does your constitution say? The constitution allows the chairperson to do what? To convene. So this is what happened. So they said, since it is that, let us change. Let us report instead. Let us put an application that we're reporting Nandara Mafabi and Poa. This is what they did. They never involved the chairman of the party, Waswabidigwa, in that case. He's not involved in that case. So what they did, Waswabidigwa was nowhere in that case. He was not given a copy. Like maybe you've reported, okay, Nandara Mafabi and President Poa, let us give a copy to the chairman who actually invited these delegates, who put this meeting, the special delegates conference.
All right.
You get what I mean?
Oh, yes.
Then later on, what happened? Time for court. Do you know that actually our lawyers went there?
Fight for you.
They went there, but they told them, you are not on this.
You're
You are
not a
attached
party.
on you are not
Yes.
a part of this.
Yes.
So your special delegates conference actually can continue and happen because you're not part of this.
All right.
Let him fight before you go to him.
Yes.
Now, in arguing cases, once you are not a party, you have to put it on the other side that there is a certain party, like Waswabirigwa, who is not a party to this case. He's going to hold something similar to what we are arguing in court. They give orders in respect to that application. But in this matter, they did not make it. That's why Rukwago also dressed up to go in court and argue the matter. They said for you, your man was not sued. He's not a party. There is no any prayer made against his move. For you, proceed.
All right. Let me bring in Musa Kwat and say, is it incidental that as Muhoozi Kainerugaba is organizing under the movement to become president in 2026, that the political parties, major political parties in the opposition are crumbling? Is it an invisible hand by General Museveni to simply prepare his son to have soft landing in 2026 by finding weak, disgruntled members of the opposition?
Whether invisible or visible, I must categorically state that the opposition of Uganda has fronted privileges ahead of interest, ahead of principles. The opposition, any party to be registered must have a constitution. And it's a pity to all Ugandans to see that the opposition that always cry for constitutionalization of government agencies, themselves don't respect their own constitutions.
But they are infiltrated by you.
And I must state that this thing of saying they are infiltrated, they are bought, they are corrupted, yes, if it is there, because it is not there, but let's assume it's there. Does it mean that if I have my wife and I have my children, you will come and buy me and take me to and cease to be the father of those people? So it's like it's the opposition we have now. Ugandans must know that we don't have we just have parties, but we don't have the party heads, we don't have people belonging to those parties. What we have are target workers there, targeting for the bread. The moment the bread lands, they are able to switch. That's why you see I was giving you a reference of what happened yesterday. But I must say that all this, though they are blaming that the government is infiltrating, that all that, I must say that the opposition...
No, it's not the government. It's General Museveni.
General Museveni.
That is infiltrating.
Of course, he's the
opposition.
head of government. So when I talk about Museveni, I'm talking about the government as the commander-in-chief and the president. So I want to put it clear to the listeners that this thing of saying that Museveni has infiltrated opposition, I don't agree with it. Because majority of us have a belonging, and I am here saying it, that I support MK. Now, I know FDC has some money, I know NUP has some money, let them bring billions and see whether I can change.
For you can change.
I can never.
You can.
Hello, something small.
So, what are you...
the way
No. Let's be clear.
Something small.
Yes.
I would want to tell him. You know, you're saying all this as if you're not a Ugandan. You'll forgive me to say this to you. You're saying all this as if you're not a Ugandan. The man that you're talking about here, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, is the chairperson of NRM and at the same time the president of what?
Of Uganda.
Of Uganda. Actually, even the president of the party. Who is their president? He's the president of the party and the chairperson of the what?
Of the party.
Of the party.
Simple question.
No. Wait. But in our constitution here, we have Wasawirigwa as the chairman of the party.
And you have a president.
And we have a president.
And there is a problem there. That's where the problem
not
starts.
Not a problem. That is why no one can stop the chairman, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, to convene a delegates conference. But he's doing so, he's telling he's showing actually the country that this constitution doesn't matter. But there is a problem. The problem is this. People are doing associations there. People are doing circles there. You're showing them that no matter how or what they do with their constitution, you will not respect it. This is what the government of Uganda is doing. It is actually disrespecting constitutions of associations, circles, and political parties, which will actually affect.
But your same constitution gives some power to your president to fire the chairperson of the party.
Pardon?
The same constitution gives power to the president to fire the chairperson of the party, which he is about to. He has said he has been compelled to fire. Fire the chairman, like you're saying.
Yes. The president doesn't have those powers. He has to sit with the delegates. Him as the president can't do that.
Okay, let's take a break.
I have a simple question for these brothers here. The question is simple. Do you think NRM, not even involving MK movement, do you think within NRM as a party there are no rifts? But are you seeing them in the media?
No, because
do you think
perhaps the glue.
Do you think everything is normal?
Perhaps the glue that is holding the NRM is because it's in power. That's different. When we come back, Peter Mpaka will have his way. Good morning.
It's tough. It's bold. It's real politics. The Big Seat on 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music.
Great music.
Great friends.
Great friends.
music,
Great music.
great friends.
Great friends.
About 16 minutes to the top of the hour. Thank you so much for those that are holding up real good on the big seat on Western Ghana's biggest radio station, 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music, great friends. Good morning once again. My name is Wesige Banyaji. With me in studio is Mr. Peter Mpaka, Mr. Gava Anthony. We have Council Honorato Muhanguzi and Mr. Musa Tukwatanese. On our social media platforms, 912 on X, that's Twitter. Go and give us some comment, give us feedback on what you think about the events within the FDC. But on Facebook, I put a question on our topic of discussion. Please drop us a line. We'll be able to read some of those comments later on in the show on 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. Mr. Peter Mpaka, you see, whatever is happening in the FDC is very synonymous with whatever is happening within other political parties. We saw it with Olaro Tunu and Jimmy Akena in the UPC back in time. We are seeing it, though, with a lot of civility in the DP, with Norbert Mao and the rest. I think it's an orchestrated plan by, in the grand scheme of things, to have perhaps all these opposition political parties very disorganized and without really mobilizing and forming any serious structures. The NUP now, we can presume, is the biggest opposition political party, going by the numbers in parliament. Definitely, when all this is happening with the FDC, had over 100 and plus members of parliament way back in 2006. They kept on reducing up to where you are, Mr. Gaba. It is possible that it can happen within the NUP. Which plans have you laid to make sure that you keep as united as it can get and you don't see yourselves being FDC anytime soon?
Thank you, SJ. I really want to look out for the positives to take from the topic we are discussing and what is happening in the FDC as a big party, as a mass party. Now, one of the positives is that I really want to congratulate FDC for their attempt at democracy and coming out to shame the dictator that he is, President Museveni, and shame him that actually there can be a will to have democracy running whether at party level or even at national level. Now, the fact that FDC's founder president, Dr. Kano Chiza Besigye, was able to contest in several elections internally and won, I think, against Mugisha Muntu twice or thrice. And then finally Mugisha Muntu won. And then Besigye was able to hand over the party leadership to Mugisha Muntu. And then later, Mugisha Muntu and Power also contested. And then was able to was defeated and also passed on power to Power. Is a good indicator that we can have democracy running. Now the challenge comes with what we are actually, I agree with both Honorato and Honorable Agaba here, that there is a hand behind the scenes that is infiltrating into the internal operations of FDC. And so with the question you've asked me, I cannot predict that this kind of, because you've given a very good kind of background. It has happened with FDC, with UPC. It has happened with the DP. Now it is FDC. Maybe in the next 5 years or 10 years, it's going to be the NUP. So what I want to believe is that there are democracy lovers in this country. There are democracy lovers in this region. Because I don't think that the whole of UPC is buried with Jimmy Akena and his wife, who is a minister of labor in this government. There must be some real UPC. There may even be one real UPC person who is saying, nah, these people, but we are more. I want to believe that not all DP went into the briefcase or went into the dark marriage with Norbert Mao. There must be some real DP people. And actually one of them that I can cite is this MP Sekariba. So, who is he? There's a strong DP. Very
yes.
good. That engineer.
Yes.
He's one of the people, and there's also another MP from Mitiana, Ruero, that side. They are always saying no. For us, we are not part of what Norbert Mao did. Now, I want to thank God that we have FDC here, and I want to thank God that we have Agaba here, who is saying, I'm not part of what Nandala and Power are doing, because they are abrogating the powers in this constitution. Now, it shouldn't shock the nation, and it shouldn't shock Ugandans, because President Museveni has successfully kutigatigadi, kupumpuna kuunya into the constitution. He has done it. He has done it. The supreme law of the country. Experienced lawyers like Honorata here, powerful debaters debated. I think in 2017, people's backs were broken. People stepped on the tables. The SFC entered into the parliament as if they were entering a market, because somebody was trying to remove a small phrase from the constitution of Uganda. So those democracy lovers, they are the ones I want to speak to this morning, who are listening. Those who say that our country can be governed on principles, our country, it is not a shame. It is not hell has fallen down for a leader to lead and he hands over power peacefully to another leader, and another leader hands over power. Those are the people I want to talk to. That you are not alone. But you have a Agaba here. Yes.
Why are you so obsessed with President Museveni handing over power to another person?
Because
what is your obsession about?
We've not had it.
But you see, but can we see a mechanism within the constitution that allows this process to happen?
Allow me ask you, you are a debater.
Yes.
And at the same time a moderator.
Yes.
And in addition, you are Ugandan.
Yes.
Is it bad to have a transition, a smooth transition?
There should be, but must it happen in a vacuum, or there is a process that culminates into that transition?
You see,
from the father to the son.
Let me put a question to council.
Yes.
Uganda Council, which procedure does the constitution provide to have a transition?
Yes.
Free and fair election.
Now another question.
But you've been able to dispute these elections. You've gone to the constitution and you've lost.
And the question
over 4 times.
Excuse me. Let me give a rationale. What is happening now? They allowed NUP to move across the country. When they saw people are jubilating and the masses are peaking, and they are going to swallow our senior and our beloved MK, they said, now you are going tribal. Do you see the mechanism they are using? They want to hook NUP off the scene so that MK can continue with the birthday parties.
Uganda Council.
Yes.
Uganda Council. Uganda Council. Let's provide the correct guidance, because I want to agree with you, yes, and you to agree with me, yes, that Bob Wine was exercising his constitutional rights. Yes. But however, as a council, accept that the very constitution that gives us the rights limits them under chapter 4 article 43. So you cannot say you have all the rights when you are violating other people's rights and rights of the public interest.
But which rights?
Let's allow Peter.
Yes. Let me first conclude his remark, because it was in
okay. Let me give it to you.
Let me tell him to go and read Article 29, right to association. Police under Article 211 is allowed to detect criminality. But in this case, they did not detect criminality, but they came to give just a blatant statement without any founding reason.
Okay. Let's have Peter.
Yes, thank you very much, my comrades, for those submissions. So for me, I want to repeat this, that I want to talk to the Democrats in this country, to people who have tried to follow the character of Dr. Chiza Besigye. Yes, I don't belong to the to the FDC. I'm part of the NUP.
But have you heard from members of the FDC? For example, Jack Sabiti, who said Dr. Besigye is actually the problem of this political party. Speak to the microphone if at all you want to.
See,
Jack Sabit you're talking about, this is the first person who first went to Besigye, Jack Sabit. He went there and apologized. But later on, no manya in Runyankore we say kokujiro attention knows fure chenega. Shoni knows fure chenega. This is what Sabit did. Sabit first went to apologize to Besigye for this. For what happened? Because FDC as FDC is actually was built on this base of actually not even personal, but accountability and transparency. This is our FDC base.
Yes.
It was built on accountability and transparency, something that is not happening in FDC because Nanda Ramafabi doesn't want to account for whatever he received. He's saying, actually, I was there. We never had
But
money.
why did Dr. Chiza Besigye wait for 2021
we wouldn't
to 2023?
We wouldn't have gotten even those little MPs we got. If he had come out to say all this, he would actually have spoiled the little that was there. So as an old man, as a founding member, he waited for all this. And when actually, after waiting, he called these people in a meeting, whereby he said, it is okay if you did so, but you can always apologize to the committee, to these delegates who are neck.
Okay.
You get what I mean?
So,
Something that they failed to do.
Peter, conclude.
Yes, so in my concluding remarks for me, Westje, my take home would be that I want the people who love democracy. I want you see, in the Bible, when you read Isaiah chapter 43, the Bible speaks about urubingo ruhendekere, that I will bring a servant na n'urubingo ruhendekere tari ruhenda na n'urumuri akatadoba akakurara urumuri rukurara akakwaka kubi tari karaza ari akakwata akabumba bumbe kagume chini kakora chi akaka. The wish of President Museveni is that urumuri rwanu rwakakubi aruhubire kimwe rukorechi
Let's meet up
are destroying, and that's what is happening. We are political parties that are building democracy, but even when turiontu tengene nangu tuemerere omuntu mukuru atutera ngutugwere chimwahansi.
Let's meet in the second hour.
And that is the shame that we are talking about.
Let's meet in the second hour. Good morning.
If he's a good man, give him Western you 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music,
Great music.
great friends.
Great friends.
We are back. It's 2 minutes past 10 o'clock on Western Uganda's biggest radio station, 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music, great friends. My name is Wesige Banyaji. Thank you so much. I want to appreciate people that have been on the show from where we started at 9 up to where we at. Special shout outs to people that are catching the show online on www.cruisefm.com/stream and on Cruise TV. People in the US, Uganda, here in our country, United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, in Kenya, our neighbors, in Canada, Germany, in the United Kingdom, and so many other countries that are, watching the show. I want to appreciate you so much. Mr. Twatanese, Aunarato Muhanguzi, Agawa Anthony, and Peter Mpaka with me in studio. And you can call in right about now on 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. On Facebook, I have a couple of messages that are coming in. Benjamin Amanya saying the opposition in Uganda is really incompetent. They have nothing like political ideology. It's about survival and personal gains. Ugandans are suffering. Just imagine a whole FDC fighting over 700 million. Ugandans just go to work. Onesimus Musinguzi is saying the moment a mother and a father start to fight is when you know that there is a great chance to lose the legacy of that family. Mr. Besije, as a senior politician, should call for peace between the two sides. I can say that there is opposition within the opposition. You're listening again from Masher Kashema. Robert Babiha, you're in Abu Dhabi, and you're saying we thank Dr. Besije for the effort to save Uganda. I'm also very grateful to God who brought Mr. Chagulani and the NUP. Imagine if FDC was the major opposition party with leaders like Amriat and Nanda at the helm. Mwebesa Rogers in Rampara, you're saying you're here in Katete. I think the party is going to be divided and end up joining other burning political parties because the misunderstandings are brought by the party leaders who have joined the burning parties. Just in the FDC bring misunderstanding. Well, thank you. Robert Babiha, you're saying it's very unfortunate that the same people telling us to unite for a democratic national process since 2000 are very intolerant people. Matthias Major, you're in Makenke, and you're saying the contractions in the FDC will be difficult to discuss and sorted out if we still have different offices in Katonga and another in Kasangati at Dr. Kiza Besige's home. We also have to remember that, again, we have two groups of people in the party. Who's behind Dr. Besige believe in defiance, and those that believe in poverty structures are now extending the party for money. Therefore, FDC is slowly being dissolved, and we shall not have it in 2026. On 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. The big set.
Yes, Mr. Banyago.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, and the fellow panelists.
Yes.
You are talking to me, Kavito Dan from Morichiri Ibanda.
Yes, Kavito Dan.
Now my wonder is on that political parties. If they can wrangle when they are not in power, what about when they step in power? You see, the Bible says in Rinyankore that every Kuratini Saturura Kuija. Now, if Museveni brings his money and they find you when you are farm, now the problem will be solved.
All right. The big set.
Hello, the big set.
Yes, Cruise FM, good morning.
A very good morning.
Yes, please. What's your name and where you're calling from?
That's Jordan from Chigarama Shema.
Yes, Jordan in Chigarama Shema. We just lost you. The big set. Yes, Cruise FM, good morning.
Morning, we're talking to Regan from Entire Chitagwende.
Yes, Regan.
All along I've been listening to your submission, guys. And actually I'm sending great thanks to FDC, guys, first you in hold with democracy. I actually don't know where is Uganda going. with this thing of NRM and MK project, because we see all the stories are running in, like, as in FDC is being destroyed because of the two parties, NRM and MK project. I think the Nandala Mafari are also joining the MK project soon.
Alright.
Because
yes,
the thing stays the same. I'm seeing FDC now. Thank you.
alright. The big set.
West Gevanyaji, my good friend.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning, Agava. How are you this morning?
I'm very, very, very wonderful.
That's good to hear.
Now, I want to tell NRM supporters or those ones in politicians of NRM that Museveni knows that and fears fighting him out of the elections. So, giving money to those watching Nandara and Power, he also know that FDC has been a great opposition party who has set up a struggle for fighting him out of election, whether with guns, whether without guns. So, I want to call upon all FDC members and FDC supporters to be strong and to know that we are in captivity. So we need to stay together such that we fight out of election, because Museveni knows that election is a revolt-killing ground. A revolt-killing ground, you can't defeat him. But he fears fighting him out of election. So I thank you for the milestone and giving us tirelessly. We really appreciate you.
All right.
I'm Senior Sagaba from Chitorentu Town Council, where FDC belongs.
Thank you, Agava. On Twitter, Hassan Amanya, who is listening again from Mayuge, FDC got split by its corrupt party members. Thank you, Hassan Amanya. And then I have Robert on Twitter. You're in Dubai. You're saying the money that has dismantled FDC was given by the state, and the mission was to destroy NUP. You see how God can disorganize your enemies, and they end up destroying themselves instead. This is a big lesson. Orishaba Marcel, who is saying on Twitter, Facebook, FDC has already lost its way and it can't revive. NUP submerged it, and now it's the most biggest opposition party. But Ije Alosius on Twitter is saying this is the time that Dr. Bestie should come up to rescue his party from those wild dogs. You're listening again from Mombara City North here. Jimmy Abbey is saying on Twitter, I believe that it's the starting point for its collapse because no one can undergo the hardships like Bessie did. Message Brian on Twitter, you're saying things, they are not easy anymore for the FDC. I see you Wakanda on Twitter, you're saying FDC should borrow a leaf from Kenya. A political party should have a mechanism of handling internal wrangles before going to the public. Museveni brought FDC, but still FDC continuing to stress him. It's NUP with clear values. Thank you so much. Let me come back to studio here. Peter Mpaka. Yes, Cruise TV. Let me get some of the messages from Cruise TV. Nwahedeza Abias. You're in Kakova here. You're watching the show. Mugabe Mahad Kamukama. You're saying good morning to everyone. You're listening again from Kabare University. Nomwe Sigwa Sophia, you're in Ivanda University. Rainy Marcel, you're in Kazo. Banini Dixon, you're watching from Ruharo. Abdabi, Robert Babiha, and so many others. Mpumwire Edwin, who is watching from Ivanda. Ruakojo, Onesimus, I see you, and Martin Bether, who is in Chambago University. Thank you so much for following the show. Keep watching. Yes, Peter Mpaka. Yes.
Yeah, I want to really appreciate the comments from our listeners. Thank you so much. And I want to pick it from someone there, one of the comments there, that any good-willed Ugandan, you have goodwill. You should not wish FDC, even if you're in the opposition, you're in NUP or you're in any other party, you should not wish FDC a death or a split. wish FDC to just be gone and forgotten and off the scene. Why am I saying this? You see, FDC has really practiced democracy, though it is a young or it has faced challenges. But for me, I appreciate the fact that they have made attempts to see that there is transition from power and set an example. If you have a neighbor in the neighborhood and is doing good things, it is very important that you should also copy. We've not had a peaceful transition in this country. We've not had a president transitioning power to another person in peace, and I think FDC was trying to do this. And then number 2, which is very important, is that look at the distribution of the support of FDC across the country. You have an MP from Chigezi, you have an MP from Ankole, you have an MP from Buganda, you have an MP from the east, you have an MP from the north. You have all this good distribution. So I think it's a party which really has a lot for us to appreciate. So for them to be going through these internal struggles, and then we climb the tree, and then we laugh at them, and then we clap our hands, and then I wish that us as Ugandans should not really take that rejection. Maybe where we can support, we should support. And even if the split happens, I want to believe that there are people who believe in democratic values, whether they will join NUP, whether they will stay in FDC, whether they will be somewhere else. I want to talk to those people that please, muberezemu, stick on those principles. Stick on the glue that this country should take the right direction, and our politics should get well guided.
Thank you so much, Peter Mpaka. Let me go to the elephant in the room, Mr. Gava. Katonga, Dr. Besigye, and creating a pyro structure within the party. He literally only holds the position of mobilizer Rukunjuri district. But now he has people's government and all this antagonism that he has created within the party. He has picked the best talent in the FDC and appointed them within his own structures at Katonga. Don't you think this is where the whole genesis of the problem is?
Thank you very much. Our listeners, those that made comments, we appreciate so much for their comments, because they are not all that bad. We appreciate them. About Katonga and Najanankumbi, let's get this clear. Katonga is not an FDC office. When Chiza Besigye left Najanankumbi, he put an office, his office, because he saw some members like Nandar and Poa were complaining that Besigye left the struggle, but he's actually on them at the headquarters. So he decided to make another office to give them room so that they can enjoy their offices. But something they have not done. They used that chance because Besigye left to get money, to pick money from the government. So when I go back and you hear the comments of Nandara Mafabi and Poa,
but they've also said
when you hear their comments, when you hear their comments, they have now started a new trend of saying for them they can't join NUP. You get what I mean?
Yes.
They are saying Besigye told them to support who? Let us have this story clear. They are saying Besigye told them to support Kyagulanyi, which they are not accepting that. So to them, they rather go to NRM than joining another opposition political party. That is their side now, and they are clear they have said it. Because they would be actually, if they were choosing Besigye, that Besigye wants them to join NRM, we would understand that. But they have come out to show us that for them to join another political opposition party, they rather join NRM government.
Let me give you some facts. In 2021, that the truth is, the wave was blowing towards the Kyagulanyi Center as the biggest contender for that presidential election. Dr. Besigye should have been able to understand and believe this fact, right? He predicted that definitely he could not have his way against Kyagulanyi.
Should I ask a question?
It is also possible that he foresaw that and could not support his own party and went ahead and supported Chagulanyi because he knew he had the biggest chance of defeating President Museveni.
Where was he supporting Chagulanyi? Let us not bring these matters the way the public actually gets them and puts them on their Facebook and WhatsApp chats. Besigye called a meeting of these people, the neck, who sit actually on top. That's what I was not in that meeting, and told them he was not going to stand. Why? Because he wants democracy and transparency. As FDC, get another person who will come. Actually, they contacted many people, including even Mwijike. They were many they contacted so they can stand. Then Poa came out and said, Foma can do what? He was given a go-ahead. And
why didn't Besigye support them in that campaign?
Because already Besigye knew about that money. This money didn't come now. The way how you're talking, it's as if the money just came on that very day. So he just said, let me be on the side for these people to go on. For these people to go on.
My brother, there is something. You see, the challenge we have, majority of us are followers. But there is always reality. The reality is, there is no way Besigye and Chagulanyi can be in the same election and the President of Uganda raises the percentage the constitution requires. But because now Besigye and Bobi Wine had already caught fire, he was like a hot cake. Besigye knew the moment he enters the race, he will also has his support. Bobi Wine has his support. Mzee Museveni fails to raise the percentage. So the best solution was to bring
His Excellency.
Are you saying that
His Excellency not to come?
I am bringing it to your own interpretation. That is my statement.
Okay. Honorato.
Thank you very much. Now, when I hear Simanyi that a big man would fail to raise the percentage, I laugh. Of course, there are some politics we don't want to discuss over the radio. But most of these people have similar funders. And basing on proven and well-researched information, the funder preferred Bobi Wine on the expense of Besigye. And Besigye had it pulled down. Are you getting my point?
Clearly.
Now, going back to what we had as a topical discussion, what we are seeing in FDC now, I can call it I can give you two terms. One, it is propaganda versus the tested credibility. When you look at the way how Poa and Nandala Mafabi are now holding Besigye at ransom, the whole state is saying no. Even if you talk ill about Besigye, he has a tested credibility, he has high moral aptitude, therefore fight your own wars. That's why even up to now, you look at NRM, before we go to FDC, I will keep on alluding to NRM. When Besigye exited the mainstream government and formed his government, you yourself can confirm that LC system is crumbling. Because he was the mentor, he was the formulator, he was the brain behind the operations of LC system, by then which was RC. Yeah. He was the political commissar, he was the Minister of Internal Affairs. But look at how things are unfolding. The Minister of Internal Affairs, the Minister of Local Government are not even working with their own system of local government. As we speak, we have an expired system of our gentleman LC, and we have a full minister, a cabinet minister. He's seated eating, all of a sudden to come with some any justification, presenting it to Parliament to extend the term of office. So, anyone talking ill about Besigye, he will lose.
All right, let's stop for a break.
He may not come back.
Let's stop for a break. When we come back, We shall get more of your comments and continue the discussion here. Don't leave your radio.
It's tough. It's bold. It's real politics. The Big Seat on 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music.
Great music.
Great friends.
Great friends.
The Big Seat on 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music.
Great music.
Great friends.
Great friends.
We are back. We literally on our final lap of the show. Thank you so much for those that have really not moved an inch from their radio. You're contributing, you're calling in, you're sending texts, and you're watching on Cruise TV. We want to appreciate you very much in a very special way. You can also take chance on calling on 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. The conversation is on our social media handles, 91.2 Cruise FM on Facebook and 912 Cruise FM on X, that's Twitter. Let me pick a few of the calls and I get back to the panel here on 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. The Big Set.
Cruise FM.
Good morning.
Jordan Morato wa Chamkopshen.
Yes.
When happy Westgate Banyaji. Opposition teacher home no ngokto kwense katik. Agoko bakuya besje yale ko.
Oh, your airtime ran short on 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. Those are the two numbers that can be able to, join the conversation here in studio. On Facebook, Mishemisa Dixon, I see you're saying only Dr. Besige who knows what to do to oppose. Ivan Palvov, you're listening in from Yibanda, and you're saying, I think this is the ending point for the FDC. If Besige doesn't come back as party president, FDC is done. Lawrence Bamwine, you're saying, we ain't surprised anymore. Everyone saw that coming. And Adrian Gilbert, you're watching all the way from Hoima, the city of oil. Thank you. And there's so many of you. Dembe Yohana, I see you. Mtebi Mike Manzi. And every person that is in Kasese and Iba and I see Njiro and all these places, we want to appreciate you very much. The Big Set is on.
Hello.
Turn down the volume of your radio.
Yes, you are talking to Mugisha from Tungamu.
Yes, Mugisha.
The problem with these political parties is the personal characters. Someone was asked a question here that if you are rich and you came to pay a poor man, that's because you have money, you want to take my wife. If I am not man enough, I will give in my wife to you, a rich man. But if I give in my wife, so the problem with the characters of these people are target workers, as someone said here.
All right, thank you so much. I think it's been very clear. Target workers. The Big Set.
Good morning, Givanya.
Good morning.
This is Uchenberg calling in from Nyangabo.
Yes, Derek Nibunyangabo.
For me, in my opinion, I can say
indeed there is no solution in Uganda, because even people who are crying also for Kakiza yesterday. For me, I think even if Dr. Kakiza yesterday just went away, money is not enough money, he's just going to come back and just cook what he wants. There's something he just wants, but it's not about it. Dr. Kakiza cannot take us anywhere. There is no position in Uganda.
I think that's been very clear on 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. The big say.
Hello, Cruise FM.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. You are speaking to Dixon from Chigarama Chema. Thank you for
Thank you so much for calling in. All right. It was only thanks. I think that's enough of the calls this morning. Let me pick the last one, perhaps. The big set. Turn down the volume of your radio.
Jordan Morato Acham Kochen.
Yes, Jordan.
FDC adina fix jago ko batno jak sanga FDC jak adina katche o sangena farmers pater kudi dare is overrun.
All right. Thank you so much. Let me come back here to Mr. Gaba. And when there were contradictions within the FDC in that election that brought Amriat in the presidency, we saw the statements of General Mchamuntu that we were actually not well versed with what was happening within the FDC. It was bigger than what met the eye at the time. And he said time will determine. And I think he has been, it's now right to say that General Mchamuntu was right about the events within the FDC.
FDC had the idea of defiance. And with Mugishamuntu, for him, he was a dialogue person. Actually, that is why Power won to become the president of the party. Because for him, he went on the side of basically of defiance. Then the delegates voted him.
Can I now say that Amriat has betrayed Besige?
Not Besige, us. Let me tell you something. During campaigns, I traveled with Amriat, the whole of this Western Uganda, supporting him. I'm the one who brought him here actually in Mbarara. They said he won't come to Mbarara here. But we actually reached an extent of knocking the DPC, you remember?
Yes.
But then
we remember that.
I was behind him. We were at August here at Ajib. Because we were supporting a man we knew. The man had the heart of FDC. But this man has changed. This man totally is now a businessman. He has been given money and he has... But something else, I want to tell Ugandans. Let's go back. Let's not see what is happening now. How many people do you think have died because of FDC? How many people do you think are even are lame? They don't have hands, they don't have legs because of FDC. But just two people, Power and Nandala, they have taken this to another level because of money, and they have forgotten the sacrifices of the people. And these people sacrificed themselves because of this constitution that we have as FDC. And another thing, if Nanda Ramafabi and Power wanted to do whatever they are doing right now as we speak, why didn't they sit down and touch in the constitution like His Excellency does through parliament? This one also would have done so, and Power using the delegates. But he forgot to do all this. Now he just wants to touch in the constitution the way he wants without authority. I think Nanda Ramafabi and Power, whatever they are on, they want to sit with His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni and take our party and get positions. Someone said it there. All they want are positions. As long as Power becomes the Minister of Justice, maybe, then Nanda Ramafabi becomes the Governor of Uganda. For them, that is what they want.
Okay.
But what about the people of FDC? What do they want? What do we want? For us, we want change. That is why they are complaining. Actually, they are fearing that for us, the fraction of Katonga FDC, that we want to join a NOP. Okay, let me ask a question. What is wrong with joining with another opposition political party? So are you telling me that FDC should join NRM like DP did? Is that what they want us to do?
Okay.
There are people we've sacrificed a lot.
Okay, thank you.
There are things we want as FDC.
Thank you, Mr. Gaba. Let me, Council Honorato, there is something that is very important that we address honestly. This struggle of the opposition kicked off all the way from around 2000, 1999, when Dr. Besje wrote that letter about what was happening within the NRM. It is literally 23 years of opposing General Museveni. Don't you think these people get fatigued? Some of them are now in their 60s, their late 50s, they are approaching 70. Okay. A person like Birigwa in his 70s, these people are tired, they have opposed and they are tired. Perhaps they should go and serve General Museveni and go home and live life.
The good thing you are good at English than me.
Yes.
Who studied from Hunjurodemo. There is a saying in English.
Yes.
That winners never quit. Winners
never quit.
That's why. Is it Franklin Roosevelt?
The president of the US?
Who contested 7 times and won at the 7th time. So, when you talk of somebody...
Let me give an example. We have a person in Shema district, Shema South constituency, Professor Richard Dickens Mshemez. He contested in 1995, won. He went to court, he was challenged by Engineer Katwiremu. He left. From 1995 to date, he has been contesting, losing. He won in 2021.
Okay.
So, in politics, there is nothing to comment about that somebody has contested more than 4 times or whatever. But if you have a cause, you pursue the what? The cause. You don't look at these destructive.
But you see, Council Honorato, there are things that you did way younger than you are now. There are things that you cannot be able to do. Nandala Mapabi and Amriyat have opposed General Museveni for literally 23 years. These people are tired. They literally want to go and retire and live a comfortable life.
And become ministers.
Perhaps it's fatigue. It's only natural that we would understand them.
Comparison in line of age. How old is Museveni and how old is Nandara? And how old is General Museveni and how old is Dr. Besije? Literally, Museveni is much more older than them. He's their father. So, where do you pick that audacity to claim that these people are tired? They are not tired. Let them go into the race. Let them pursue their cause. Let them sell their manifesto so that people can buy or can listen to them and give them support. Actually, what we are not dealing with a normal situation in Uganda. We are dealing with military generals. They look at staying in power at all costs. That's why I was listening to one of these new presidents who toppled the government. He was telling whites that you should leave Africa to rule ourselves the way we want.
The president of Guinea.
Of Guinea.
Yes.
And you think, is that the way to go in this modern era, in this modern politics, in constitutionalism, international community looking at you, and you claim that for you, you have your own democracy, which should be exercised, that from the father to the son, from the father to the daughter, from the father...
What is wrong with that? The president does, the constitution does not give a provision that denies them.
Why don't you open the space for others to compete favorably? Now, we have moved from meritocracy. Do you see what is in Uganda like today? We have moved from meritocracy to something. You have to be with those Ababatiza,
kingpins.
Kingmakers. You first go before someone, kneel down. Vanyaj should stand behind you and lay a hand on you, and somebody baptizes you in the name of somebody, and you are now given a go ahead.
But that's not an isolation of Uganda, even in the US.
True.
Yes.
But in US, in these civilized countries, there is at least high level of meritocracy. You may follow roots, values of a certain political party. But it's not like what we are seeing in Uganda. In our election, when I was contesting, for the first time, I was forced to get escorts. In that time, because I was contesting with the son to the big man. Nyonka escort nganyenda baje. Pick up ya police pakinjira hakwitu. Since then kabatakanye baga. Buriya bakamba ndonda hoje. Because we are in politics of these people. That from the sun, transmission. Actually, you people, you don't know this word transmission. For you, a lawyer, you will study it and know. Transmission, okay, let me not explain it on air. But lawyers know.
Yes.
Politics of transmission are deadly. Because somebody can kill. That's why I was telling this young
in Togo,
man,
one family has ruled for 50 years.
Do you know what?
We've seen it's been a trend not only on the African continent. We've seen in other countries.
In Uganda, they want 80 years.
It is worse. You check Senegal.
They want to break that record here in Uganda.
No.
After arresting Senegal, the former Senegal president, Abdoulaye Wade, now they found his son was claiming to be having 65% of the total revenue collected from the tourism industry. As if the animals were grazed in his own farm. It's what is happening in Uganda. You can say these people who are saying, our MK. They even don't know where the money comes from. They don't know. Those who are holding their meeting at night, the chairman, secretary, treasurer, is not part of these who are spectators, but they say we are supporting. Supporting what? That is not democracy we want. Let Banyaji be given opportunity to express himself. Okay, we may not have similar facilities like a car, like money, like sponsors, but you just leave me also to go on the street. I share my manifesto. I tell them my ideas. I tell them what do's and don'ts. Once they say, Honorato, you can be our leader, let me take the day.
All right. Let me bring in Musa here. Musa, do you think it works in your advantage as the NRM when the opposition is so weak and incapacitated and they've literally lost ground? Don't you think you will only flourish where there is a vibrant alternative opposition that comes up with ideas that you can even pick on and implement?
My brother Banyaji, and to our dear listeners, I will first of all reference the message of 2001-2006. When you look at the changes and the achievements, these days Museveni always sound, they were flaunted by Besigye in his manifesto. So having opposition won't be a problem, but it is always necessary to have the opposition that is ideologically sounding. Opposition there to check the government, guide the government, correct the government. You were comparing US and Uganda. When you look at the opposition of US, it has that opposition that is able to check the government, guide the government, and even government will implement some of.
But the opposition has been able to raise certain issues and you've rubbished
by
them.
the opposition. But now you look, I have given you the example. I have said you reference the Besigye of 2001, Besigye of 2006, even of 2011. We can attest to the listeners. You know what Museveni would always do wherever Besigye says, no, my men are being harassed because of this tax. No, I'm going to remove it. Tomorrow you hear Museveni saying, no, that tax has been removed. You hear Besigye saying, no, I am going to introduce USE. Then Museveni introduces the USE. So, in fact, if we had such opposition now, Uganda would be very far. But the opposition has just become radicalists who are just reactional, aimless. They just move non-directional. They just move like wind.
Is that why you want to?
And that's why we say, instead of misleading our Ugandans, we rather provide a corrective measure. That's why when Museveni met the MK movement, the first thing he told the Central Committee,
he has used one phrase, of radicalism,
reactionism.
Now I want to ask him, whenever somebody comes out to say, MK is not the time, you say, ntuza kutahi aho shemerire, aho ninka, numuza kumutanga.
Now,
why do you threaten?
Why do you threaten?
Now,
if you are not radical.
I'm coming to the point. When Mzee Museveni met the Central Committee of the MK movement, he made a statement that I'm happy with you people because you have nurtured the young generation that has a name and has resisted the reactionary opposition. And you are the young generation you are nurturing. They are we are radicalists, but who have the aim as the ideology. My problem with the opposition of today, it has lacked ideology. It is just moving like wind.
Let's come back when we come back. It will be to your comments. Thank you.
It's tough. It's bold. It's real politics. The Big Seat on 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music.
Great music.
Great friends.
Great friends.
On the final lap of the show, 15 minutes to 11 a.m. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. Honorata Muhanguzi, Agawa Anthony, Musat Kwatansan, Peter Mpaka. My name is Wesi Gebanyaji. I want to appreciate you so much for those that have called in, contributed by way of messages to our social media platforms. 91.2 Cruise FM on Facebook and 912 Cruise FM on Twitter. Let me pick some of your calls before I come back for our parting shots on 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. The topic of discussion this morning is on the state of affairs within the FDC. We know for sure now there are two parallel camps, one headed by the president of the party, Amuliato Boy, Patrick, and Nandala Mafavi, who is the Secretary General on one hand, and on the other hand is Dr. Vesije and a couple of other very strong members of the FDC, Salam Musumba, Waswabili Gwa, and Elias Rukwago, and so many of the kind. We know that now courts moved to issue an interim injunction stopping the extraordinary conference that went ahead in defiance still to be conducted at Katonga. It was slated to happen in Busabala on a property that is owned by Waswabirigwa. The events have now culminated into what we have now, back and forth fights assuring each other. And we wait to see what would happen eventually of the FDC. We're only hoping that they don't split and it becomes as a party that we know that is being. We know that there are a couple of so many other parties that have broken out of the FDC. which way to go, FDC? Call in and let us know about what you think on the topic of discussion on 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. The big set.
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Niwana baningira ntu ba member bona ba FDC barondeze n'ibindi ba joining abo kuba tunokushanga akesharingo kairo mbambe sharinga ngriyo government kandi tunabo ba member ba FDC nabo bari kwesharinga nabanyeta Jordan Morato wacha mkosheni.
Yebari Jordan. The big set. Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Cruise FM.
Yes.
This is Greenwood Shagan Kazu. But I want to ask those panelists, why is FDC eating each other?
Why is FDC doing what?
Eating.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. Let me pick the last call of the show this morning. Good morning.
Yeah, morning. How are you?
Yeah, I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. You're talking to Mr. Blitz from Schema. Thank you for the show, and I really like the show.
Thank you.
And what I can supplement on what those political parties are doing. Really, as I come to reach, we need a change. We know where we are heading. Since we have started such kind of fights around ourselves.
All right.
And what I can just put across, it's just let us work as a team. They say together each achieves more. And they say step by step we shall reach. Then what I can just give to my fellow FDC members, let's just fight as a team, and since we need change in our country and we need democracy. Let's see where the strength is by Ugandans and the biggest party, which is the opposition party, they are supporting, and should also it's where we should go and support. We put our efforts there so that we should reach our destiny. But if we behave as DP, nowhere we are heading.
All right.
Because there is one man said, DP, there's one man said the NRM is like, if this is like a pumpkin, then DP is like a watermelon.
Right.
Outside green. Okay.
Yes, you're saying outside green?
Outside green, inside red. Then pumpkin, outside green, inside yellow.
All right, thank you so much. You've closed up with that analogy there. Let me go to Agala. Way forward. Now we know that there are two camps, really. It's very clear. The lines are divided. What do we know of FDC moving forward?
Much. All I know is that FDC is one. Though you hear Katonga and Najana Nkumbi, but FDC is one. And FDC has structures from ground to the level of delegates. So FDC is one.
So those structures belong to Najana Nkumbi. What will happen to those
They don't belong to Najana Nkumbi. Actually, structures belong to the party, but there is one person who thinks that the structures are his, and that is Nandala Mafabi and Poa. So this is what I want to tell Ugandans who support FDC. Actually, we've tried our best to have our FDC back. And we've done this through a lawful way. Not unlawful, but through a lawful way. So we are 100% sure that we will have our party back. And we are 100% sure that Nandala Mafabi will live and power. They will either start their own other political party, I don't know. They will either join NRM, because for them they say they can't join NUP. So they can't join NUP, so the only option they can have is joining NRM, who've been funding them. But this is what I want to say as FDC. Ever since I've been in FDC, I've never heard or I've never seen anything like what I've seen now. Because I've seen goons. I've seen police at our party protecting the General Secretary of our own FDC, being protected by police. I've never seen anywhere Dr. Kano Chizabesje with police. And these police have never been at our headquarters. But this time round, because Mafabi has his own way that he wants to take FDC, that is why we are facing all this. But I'm 100% sure that the resolutions we made will stand. Because one, our delegates conference, extraordinary delegates conference, no one stopped it. the injunction and the court order you're talking about was stopping Nanda Ramafabi and Power not organize and continue with their extraordinary meeting, of which it was organized by the chairman of the party, Wasabirigwa. So whatever that we discussed and whatever that we resolved will stand.
Now, what if the FDC at Najanankumbi continues to organize election, have Nandala re-voted as Secretary General and Amriat as President? They will wield the power because...
they will try their best, but like I've told you, we have done all this through.
All right. Let me get the parting shot from Musa Kwatansa before I come to Honorato. Yes, Musa.
Thank you so much. I am very pleased that our dear listeners, especially those who have tried to send messages and even call, are appreciating that there is a kind of ideological bankruptcy within the opposition. And so the opposition, to convince the followers, reorganize yourselves, because as Ugandans, as a Ugandan and a true citizen, I don't support the idea of Uganda not having an opposition, but we must have the opposition that has a clear agenda, opposition that is there to check the government, opposition that is there to guide the government, so that even when we have the leaders, MPs in parliament, at local government level we have leaders, they are able to provide guidance and they are able to check and ensure that we fight corruption together, we streamline systems together, and we live in a better country. Otherwise, I thank you for the show and thank you for hosting me. Greetings to all fans of General Muziki Nerugaba, our next president 2026, and all fans of the political antidote to Kwatan Sims.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Council Honorato Muhangu.
For me, I find it hard to follow people like Tukwatanase. Using such a word, ideological bankruptcy, I will actually assign you a duty to parade these leaders and give their speeches and see who has the gist, who has the knowledge, who has wisdom to pass on to others. Then you will know who to support. Please, kindly, I request that some word should be reserved for other forums, not such a big radio station like this.
Yes.
This is a big word, and it is misplaced. Now, my final remarks is that in politics, radicalism can work. Careful and calculated moves can work. I respect people like Mr. Besige. I respect the attempts made by Chaguranyi and other political actors. If you want to know that even where, for me I'm in structures of NRM, but sometimes we fail to know where we are heading, you first ask yourself now. NRM has no idea. They are now running to Buganda, they are now running where, they are following this one, they don't know whether the next day they are going to MK, whether they are going to Vakumeini. Now we are at crossroads. And I'm in the structure. You know, I contested for LC5 chairmanship.
Yes.
And I haven't even rested my hand. I may go back. I'm actually...
But who is going to give you that flag for taking a lot of time opposing government and making statements that are anti-government? Who is going to give you that flag?
My dear, people outside here, they know what they want.
Oh, okay.
It's not that it's like when you are in a line of faith that I'm a Catholic, but you don't know how Catholics were, how Catholicism came into existence.
Thank you, Council Honorato Muhangu.
So
let me give our guest, yes.
Okay.
Your last remark.
I wanted to say bye to listeners, to thank those who have called and those who have contributed by sending SMSs. We are seeing them. Next time, let's have a civilized show.
Thank you.
And avoid such words. I condemn this word.
Mr. Gawa Anthony, your final remark in a second.
Thank you very much. I would like to thank our viewers and listeners out there who've been there, those who called, because they are wonderful and good to us, because actually some of us now will go and work on what they have been talking about here. So always learn from these people who call us on radio stations and TV stations that we go on. So I would like to thank my party FDC for the fight they are doing, because they have fought really so hard for us to have those resolutions out there. As I'm speaking now, we have Rukwago as our party president. Then we have our Secretary General Kaija. Then we have Treasurer then Mujuche Francis. So
that man Rukwago is very dangerous. But thank you so much, Mr. Gava Anthony, for sparing time to come to the show. Mr. Honorato Muhanguzi, Musa Tkwatan, Peter Mpaka, thank you for every person that has contributed to the show this morning. My punchline of the week: if you're a student and you're